predominantly been that of paper, pencil. So if it has not been technological driven, the point to get prepared now and find a way to get our technology, our education activated technologically. But we're not there yet. So as such, we must also expect some attitudinal change, whether you like it or not. Hello, the moderator.
Sir, sorry about that.
All right. I said we must be prepared to get our education technologically driven in such a manner that while we cannot all do the whole classes on the virtual level, that we must be prepared to see that. And I said that post-COVID, we must be expecting some attitudinal change. We're going to have some new behavioral approaches coming from the students, coming from the teachers. The teachers who want to go more virtual, do more of their work now because they have been exposed that it is real, that a lot could be done as a distant learning. A lot of things could be achieved from that. So students and teachers are prepared to see that. And also too, the teacher must also come to realize, and the school must also come to realize that the area of them assuming that they are the custodian of content, that the education content, they are in the custody of it, this COVID had exposed us. Because there isn't anything anybody will claim as far as content is concerned that Google will not give you. And now our attention has been drawn to that. And as such, we should expect that the impact of teaching and learning process must be more directed towards behavioral change and not necessarily content oriented. So that's a great lesson. And from that, we should also begin to also put together our resources. One other important thing we must also realize that we need post-COVID will also have been the building of the human capacity. You will also discover, I want to salute the efforts of a great number of the teachers during this pandemic who were able to switch over, who were able to begin to use the media. You go to Zoom, the Google Room, and all of that. Some percentage of the teachers were there. But you also agree with me that a greater percentage of the teachers were not able to use such resources. And the implication is that if care is not taken and those teachers are not becoming compliant, they may begin to think of having a change in terms of their career or begin to adjust to that. So we're going to expect some of this. And if you look at the public school administration itself, well, for a number of, well, good private schools will say that, yes, we could get some of these resources. But by the time you get there, to the larger percentage of the schools that are directly controlled by government, how prepared are we? Many of the teachers, as we are talking, the last time they saw the classroom was the last time they left their universities and colleges. So in terms of human capacity and building up, they might not be able to meet up. The students, as a matter of fact, as a result of this exposure, may be far more advanced than many of us who are teachers. So that's another challenge we have to cope with in the post-COVID era. So that all this put together, we may have to begin to experience a new school, a new form of education. Thank you at the moment.
Thank you very much, sir, for those insights. It's really, really good to have you here. So, Dr. Lawrence, I'll still come back to, I was able to pick some points from what you said, sir. So, but I'll still come back to that. Dr. Lawrence, I would also like to hear from you as well, as regards the tertiary institution. So, what are the things we can hopefully look forward to seeing? Because I understand how it is over there too, sir. So, let's hear from you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Just like Dr. Yibi said, I don't want to be seen as a pessimist, but we need to tell ourselves the truth and absolute truth. When I was speaking the other time, I said things are already worse. But post-COVID, if care is not taken, we'll be experiencing the worst situation. That is just the truth. Because things will change, no doubt about it, on the part of the students, on the part of the lecturers, and even the university or the school management, either university, polytechnic, colleges of education, and things like that. Things will change across the environment. But let me tell you, if we want to say, we want to expect something positive, we are deceiving ourselves, because Nigeria as a whole, or the government of Nigeria, is not proactive at all. We don't think ahead until we see that problem manifesting. We will not think about how to solve the problem, even before it comes around. Fine, nobody envisaged COVID-19, but now that this has started, what is this government doing to improve on the situation we have in our universities or in our polytechnics today? What is our government doing? They are doing absolutely nothing, as far as I'm concerned, because currently, if you look at the student-staff ratio, student-lecturer ratio in the university, at least I'm conversant with the environment, I can tell you that a lecturer will be handling nothing less than 80, 90 students. And this is against the standard of a lecturer to between 30 and 40 students. Just imagine. Now, when we talk about this COVID-19, we know that we must always put in place a mechanism that we allow for keeping distance. I'm talking about social distancing. And in a situation like this, what do you expect? Do you think a crowded class can practice social distancing? Now, if we talk about this remote learning, is the government or the university or the school ready for this distance learning? No, from what we can see, no. So we are going to experience strange things in the university even after this COVID-19. After this COVID-19 issue, we are going to experience strange things, because things will not be as business as usual. No, there is going to be a serious change, and the change may not be palatable to every one of us. Let's talk about using distance learning or remote learning again. Students will find it difficult to cope with this. Students will find it fine. They are versatile, even more than the lecturers or teachers, just like Dr. Oyebi said. They are very, very versatile when it comes to the issue of technology. But at the same time, they will find it difficult to adjust to this. Let's now talk about lecturers. Lecturers will, in fact, will find it very difficult. Not that they are not prepared. They are prepared, but where are the resources? Where are the infrastructures? Where is that internet services? These things are not available. I was surprised when the education minister was talking about moving to this online teaching and things like that in our universities. Is this realistic? This is not realistic. The problem we have in Nigeria is the issue of hearing something from people abroad in the advanced economy. They are saying this is what they are doing. Do they think they just started now? They had started earlier before now. All these resources are already in place before talking about remote learning. But in Nigeria, these resources are not in place. How can we be talking about remote learning in a place where we don't have functional internet facilities? It's not possible. How can we talk about remote learning in a place where we don't have equipment like we can use to teach our students using virtual equipment? I'm talking about virtual equipment. This is not possible. We need to be proactive in anything we do. So we are going to experience series of changes that are not going to be palatable to us at all in the university. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your input as well. I would just like to ask something as regards what you just said now. So I love the fact that you mentioned that resource-wise, we are not ready for remote learning in terms of resources and like technological resources that can help us promote remote learning. So I would like to ask, sir, is it like a general thing as regards both the private educational sector and the public educational sector? For example, I'm a product of a Nigerian university, and I believe many of the people on this session today are. So, and we can all testify about the situation of things in these universities, these government-owned universities we attended. But now let us look at it from the perspective of the private institutions. Are they also, I don't really know if you have anything to say about that, like are they prepared, or Nigeria as a whole, the educational sector as a whole is not prepared for this remote learning of the things?
Oh, thank you very much. With the little I know, though I'm not working in a private university, but I have colleagues in private universities and we relate from time to time. I can tell you that private universities are far better in terms of their readiness for this post-COVID activities than public universities. I can tell you that because they have all the resources they need. They have all the resources. And that is why I said the issue we have is not about the lecturers. It's not about the students per se. The issue is about our government making all the necessary resources available, all the necessary infrastructures available is what we need. In private universities, all these resources are available. We do go there to do one or two things. We have colleagues there who work in the environment. We know what they do. In terms of motivation for the lecturers, they are far ahead of public universities. In terms of resources, they are far ahead. So they are ready. I cannot say they are 100% ready anyway, but when we compare public universities with that of private universities, no. Public universities are nowhere to be found when we talk about their readiness for post-COVID activities.
Okay, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that. So, Dr. Oyebi, like earlier when you were discussing with us, you mentioned something about the human capacity. Can you hear me, sir? Okay, he's on mute. Hello, sir.
Probably he needs to unmute himself.
Yes, he needs to unmute his mic. Okay, fine. So, sir, you mentioned something about human capacity, that is, in terms of the teachers and those who dispense educational knowledge to students, right? So, yeah. And you spoke to us that a good, like a percentage of these people are prepared for digital learning, for remote learning. So, I would like to ask, like, the percentage, or I don't know if you can really give us a kind of modality, so to say, like what percentage of these teachers do you think are prepared? Like, are we on the safe side in terms of that? Like, possibly we have a greater percentage or a lesser percentage, so we can know what we are looking at, sir.
You see, that's part of our problem. There isn't any authentic statistical data to do some of these things. But if I have to do it on basic assumption, just mere assumption, I would say that the percentage of people that are ready are very low compared with those that are not ready. Bearing in mind that you will also discover that up till now, a great percentage of those who teach our children in schools cannot effectively operate their handsets, for instance. There are facilities that are on the phone that we cannot access. There are applications that are unknown. Only this pandemic brings some people to realize that there is an application you call Zoom. There is an application you call Skype. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
so the percentage of those who are not at that level, by the way, by just my mere scientific guess, are far larger than those that are compliant. And that's what I was trying to say, that if this, we have to prepare ourselves for the technological advancement, then there is necessity for human capacity. You also discover that when it comes to issue of research, did you ever see any secondary school or primary school teacher going on research? Most researches that you have are done by the university students and lecturers. And these are the ones who are not coming back to implement them. So the people upon which they are doing the researches are just there, dumbfounded. And there is no basic policy, even in government system at secondary or primary school level, that says that you have to meet this standard to get promoted to any other level. In the university, you have all of that. But by the time you come to that, that human capacity, the zeal is not there. For them, suffice for them to say, I left the university or I left the College of Education and I've gotten employment. The very day they have gotten employment, they have come to a level of self-actualization by their own standards and determinations. And as such, to really keep themselves and come to fact, that is not that. So you will now want to see that for us to get there, we need that human capacity as well, so that they can be able to really exert the necessary influence on the children.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that. So for those who are just joining us, we've been talking about education and post-COVID-19, the post-COVID-19 era, and we are trying to figure out solutions and the situation on ground itself. So thank you very much, sir, for that point you just made now. So from all the conversations we've been having since the beginning of the session, one thing is very, very visible to every one of us: the fact that Nigeria as a nation is not ready for remote learning, like to fully optimize it. So in terms of resources, technological resources required for this, we do not have them on ground. In terms of human capacity as well, we are not really prepared for it. So this brings a lot of concern to everyone. So now I don't want us to just dwell on the situations on ground. Please, if you have any question, you can kindly drop them in the chat box. If you are with us on Facebook Live, you can drop it and we'll check in the comments, so it will be addressed later on in this session. So we've spoken about the situation on ground. I believe we should not only discuss that, we should also be able to look at the way forward. That's why the theme for this session is the education and the post-COVID-19 era, the way forward. So the situations are not really what matters to us, but how do we get out of them? So I'd like to begin with Dr. Lawrence. I want this part of the session to be really, really explicit. Like, I want us to discuss about it and how it affects each player in education. We have the students, we have the educational institutions, we have the government, we have the teachers as well. Everybody has a role to play if we are going to move out of this. So I would like to begin with the teachers now. So Dr. Lawrence, what are the things, in your own opinion, that should be done on the part of the teachers to help us like position the education in Nigeria for full effect and full functionality in this era? So.
All right, thank you. There is one thing in life that is constant, and that is change. Change is constant. Teachers, lecturers should be ready to adjust to this new paradigm shift we are going to experience, or that we are already experiencing in education sector. We need to be ready to change. And we all know that as things change, we must think about how to improve ourselves. Just like Dr. Oyebi stated, that we need to talk about the issue of human development, human capital development. We need to develop ourselves, even if government cannot develop us, by the way of giving us trainings, by the way of sending us to conferences and things like that. We can as well do our own development by training ourselves. How do we go about this? There are different ways of learning new things today through the internet and the likes. Just we need to endeavor to make use of these avenues so that we can improve ourselves and be able to match up with our international colleagues, because today the whole world is a global village. You cannot say you want to be a local champion at the corner of your town or of your school without thinking about how to relate with international colleagues of yours. So teachers need, or lecturers need, to adjust to this new change we are experiencing.
So Dr. Tunde as well, I'd like to hear from you, sir, as regards teachers. Like, what role do teachers have to play in this evolution or in this change we are all hoping to see?
Well, I think Dr. Lawrence has said it all. Number one basic fact is that every teacher who wants to continue to be relevant in the 21st century post-COVID must be prepared to learn, relearn, and unlearn. To learn new things, to relearn old things that are still relevant, and to unlearn some things that are no longer relevant. I repeat, every teacher that has to be compliant, we have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So if you sit at a place and you are now quoting Malthusian theory of this thing, you know, the application of Malthusian theories to what is relevant. How does Malthusian theory, how is it now relevant to the present situation I'm facing now? If you now go and you now ask a child to now reproduce that, not necessarily using it and applying it to life, you are not there. You are not there. You talk about some factors of production, nearness to raw material, you know, the present technological development has outweighed those factors. That I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
So if a particular teacher is still at that level, so every teacher in the post-COVID era must be prepared to learn new things, or learn bad things that are no longer relevant, and relearn the other ones that are relevant. So it is only then that such a teacher is getting himself equipped for the necessary challenges. I must also be prepared to face the challenges coming from the students. So the era of teacher knows it all. He should not come on board. That in the past, when you study things and you are getting so upset, you run to your teacher. Not many students will run to a teacher. That they know, of course, they know where to go. So as such, the teacher must also be prepared to be ahead of the system and the world to be relevant in post-COVID. And that's the only way. That's the only way I feel teachers will retain their jobs, because it's only relevant teachers that employers will keep. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So sorry, Bawale,
Okay.
please, I would like to chip this in.
Okay.
Concerning the issue of what teachers can do in this era of post-COVID-19. I want to tell you that another problem we are having in the university or in our schools generally is this issue of sharp practices. And this is not coming from the students alone. It is also coming from the teachers. It is also coming from the lecturers. Teachers and lecturers should stop this. They shouldn't encourage students to do this. Some of these are teachers or lecturers are aiding and abetting these students who are involved in all these sharp practices. Even let's talk about the issue of having the issue of set for mark in the university. This has to stop because it is affecting adversely. It is adversely affecting the education system of this country. Although some people do say the standard of education is falling, I cannot say the standard is falling. The only problem we have is about the quality. And one of the things that is making the quality to fall is this issue of sharp practices that we are, some of our lecturers, students, even parents are involved in. Let's talk about the reason why I said the standard is not falling is because of the fact that there are some, just like Dr. Oyebi said the other time, there are some things that were taught in the past and they are of low quality or low standard then. But now they have been improved upon and they are getting better today. Let's take this as an example. A primary school student today, what they are being taught in the school, even in the past, secondary school students were not taught. I don't know if you have noticed that. That is what we are experiencing. So we cannot say the standard is falling. The problem we are having is the quality. The quality is falling, and one of the factors that is making the quality to fall is this issue of sharp practices that I've just mentioned. And we need to desist from this. Both students, lecturers, and even the parents, because they are all involved in this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful contribution. So I mentioned 4 key stakeholders in the educational sector earlier on. So we've been able to address issues as regards the teachers now. So I'd like us to talk about those who are at the receiving end, which are the students, who are the students. So what are the things like suggestions and based on observations, since this is your field, and what are the things students personally need to work on if they really want to thrive in this post-COVID-19 era? So, Dr. AB, you can go first, sir.
Well, I want to sincerely say that the first strength the students need is to get focused. Get focused on their own needs. Because at the moment, there are lots of distractions. So if you are holding a phone, what can you use that phone to better what you are doing at the moment? You are a student. How best do you use your phone to access the internet rather than sitting on WhatsApp and exchanging messages and pleasantly and sending nude pictures? So the first principle to get out of this in the post-COVID era is that every student need to be focused. And focused on what? On their own achievements. They must also be able to set realistic goals and achievable ones. In other words, your university education is for a period of 4 years. How on earth must you prepare yourself to spend a day extra? So you must be focused on that. And if you have to achieve that, then that means you are going to do your assignments as and when due. Because if you don't have a precise goal, you might go by every wind that falls away. Then you must also have to clarify your values. Because in the post-COVID era, already, whether we like it or not, we're already unduly exposed. And there are so many stringent different values. So every student, either at the secondary school or at the tertiary level, must have a clarified values so that they don't go by the wind that comes their way. Having done all of this, then there must be essential positive attitude towards learning. Positive attitude towards learning and be prepared to be open to new ideas, be open to new things, so that when challenges come, they will be there to address it. Or the part of students, their readiness to achieve this will be faster. Then on the part of students too, there is this idea of doing things by shortcuts. They want to cut short everything. A program that was supposed to be for 2 years, somebody may want to do it within 1 year. Somebody may still want to be away from school and still have a distinction. That is when these issues of seductions, learning teacher, yes, there could be a level of indiscipline on the part of teachers and students, some of us, no doubt about that. But then there's a lot of students that are also gullible. And if they are that, then there will be a problem. So in other words, anything that has to go through shortcuts, every child, every student must be ready to know that every shortcut will be cut short. Take for instance, examination malpractices. The students rely on that. And now, for a number of years now, JAMB has gone on, we call it, on YouTube, sorry, what do you call this term now for this new JAMB, not post-UTME, computer-based test.
Okay, CBT.
So look at the emergence of that. In the past, a lot of students are in the university because somebody wrote JAMB for them. Technology has reduced that to a large extent. You have to be there with your biometric. In other words, your own biometric is not replaceable by anybody. So anybody who is now relying on such a shortcut, he has been cut short. So the only thing that lasts, therefore, is truthfulness, hard work. Even when you are talented, when you are brilliant and you are not hardworking, the one who is hardworking that is not so brilliant will outshine you. So as much as possible, that spirit of hard work, clarified value, setting good goals, and really working hard to achieve your goal will help the system. Because if you go by this virtual learning, there are also devices to change the corrupt practices there. So as such, we must be prepared to know that, like Yoruba will say, every child that goes to school must be determined to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So, Dr. Lawrence.
Okay. Students should be focused, no doubt about that. They should avoid this quick morning of a thing, and that is what is in place now amongst the students. they have been thinking about how to make quick money. And this is not good at all. It is not good for the community, for the country as a whole. It is not good for them as well. So they should think about how to avoid this. I could remember there was a day I was about entering a class, and we were waiting for the lecturer who was actually using the class to exit the class before I entered. And some students were around me and we were discussing. And I told them, you guys need to be serious, read your book and things. Some of them said, sir, forget that thing. Bubu walule. I said, what is the meaning of this? Bubu wakolule. Everybody is not a thief. Please don't talk like that. They said, no, that do you want to tell me that if you have any opportunity of holding a political, a public office or political office, do you think you will not eat whatever you want to eat and leave? I said, no, this is not right. Look at the mindset of the future leaders of this country, the leaders of tomorrow of this country. Look at what they have in mind now. So that means we students must get things right. Please, students, please try as much as possible to be focused. Don't say you want to make quick money. Don't think about those people who are making their money through illegal means. There are a lot of people who are making their money through illegal means. Please don't look at them. You need to be focused. Listen to what you are being taught in the class. Make sure you read your book and do not seduce lecturers, especially female students. Some of them seduce lecturers. This is not right. Because in the media, we have been hearing about sex for marks. I want to tell you that this is not absolutely the fault of the lecturers. Some are caused by the students themselves, because it is only students who are weak, those students who know that they are not strong, they are not academically strong, that are susceptible to this type of thing in the university. It is not done in the university, whereby you see lecturers disturbing brilliant ones. I can tell you, such lecturers know that they are about to lose their jobs. But it is only those people who are weak, and those are the susceptible ones in the university. But how do they do it? They are the ones who make themselves available for these lecturers to exploit. You need to think about how to run away from things like study hard. You don't need to go to any lecturers for any kind of help, any kind of undue advantage. You don't need to go to them. Read your books, do all the assignments, do everything, be focused. No lecturers can attack you. No lecturers can force you to sleep with him before you can be passed. No lecturer can do that. If you can be focused, if you can read your book, because you can challenge such lecturers. We have instances like that in the university. Just that students do not know their rights. If you know your rights, you don't have any problem. You don't need to entertain any fear in the university, because there are rules and regulations guiding the student-lecturer relationship in the university. But when you don't know your rights, you can just fall prey into the hands of these sex for mark lecturers. But if you are focused, if you can be serious with your studies, I'm very sure you cannot have any issue with these people at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So students should stay focused and not move into shady deals with lecturers or whosoever they might be dealing with. So I believe everyone on this session is really learning one or two things from what the speakers have been saying so far. So in case you have any question you'd like to ask, just kindly drop your question in the chat box so that it can be attended to in the course of the session. So I want us to talk about the educational service providers now. When I say educational service providers, I'm referring to schools, the schools as a body, and tertiary institutions as well. So what role do they have to play? What is expected of schools in this post-COVID-19 era? What are they supposed to do to help Nigeria educational system be positioned to make full impact? So Dr. Barinde, I would like to begin with you on that, sir.
All right. There are some things, schools, there are basic things schools must make available for students for smooth learning in the university. Either it is remote learning or even the one that is not remote. There are certain things. Let's talk about these internet facilities. Whether we are talking about remote learning or we're not talking about remote learning, if we want to have a very good research output in our university today or in our tertiary institutions as a whole, we cannot do it without internet facilities. This must be made available. Fine, we know that the university or the institution cannot do this alone because the little they can do is just from the IGR. And once they expend everything they have in the IGR, then there is little or nothing they can do again. So they depend so much on the government. But with the little IGR they have, they should be able to judiciously utilize this IGR to the extent that everybody, every stakeholder in the university or in the tertiary institution, we benefit from it. Now, the issue of corruption is another thing. Our school leadership, the leadership of these universities or our tertiary institutions should think about how to curb the issue of corruption in the university, because some of these funds may not be used judiciously. Some are diverted. So in fact, in the area of contracts, some people increase the contract, the value of the contract, and this is adversely affecting what they should deliver. At times, some of the contractors will need to pay kickback to the people who are actually monitoring them. And once they do this, they will not be able to give us quality projects. That is another thing we are facing in our tertiary institutions. A building, for example, that is not up to 6 years, before you know it, even 3 years, you'll be seeing those buildings having cracks. Even to the extent that the building may not be habitable again for people. They may need to pack out of that building and quickly do some renovations. This is a building that is not up to 6 years. Do you know the reason for this? It is, I cannot blame the contractors, absolutely. It is not the fault of the contractors alone. Even the people who are monitoring these contractors have their own faults, because some of them, I'm not saying all of them, some of them might have taken bribes from these contractors before they can say, okay, everything is fine. And you know, contractors, anybody who does business is thinking about to make profit. The remaining money for them will just be managed to do whatever the money can handle. And that's why we are having shoddy jobs on the campus around. And this is causing problems. So universities or the management of the tertiary institutions should be up and doing and make sure that the resources, to the best of their ability, the resources needed for smooth learning are made available. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful contribution and speaking to issues that needs to be addressed in the leadership of educational institutions. So, because the truth is, everybody has a story to tell about what they've experienced due to bad leadership and mismanagement of funds that has been disbursed to help educational institutions deliver these services better. So we've seen buildings projects that were never completed, and a lot of things that students could have benefited from that never saw the light of day. So Dr. Ebi, can we also hear from you, sir, in terms of the secondary school education and anything you just have to say as regards education? What can schools do to help the sector get better at what it's meant to do, sir?
Well, you see, the game is a bit different in the secondary school, let's say in the country, because there's a marked difference between the public home secondary schools and the private ones. And like Dr. Lawrence observed in the private university, story is the same at that level. However, I want to think that the school should have, among other things, an updated database. I have just raised the issues of data that we do not have enough data to really actually assess issues. Let every school develop a data system so that, and it should be retrievable. It should be accessible from time to time. so that on a single point like this, you can get concrete information as to the growth, development, the needs, the challenges, and ways of solving peculiar problems that are associated with certain issues. So if you have sufficient database concerning the school as a whole, educational system as a whole, whatever that's to do with statistics and data, every school must have a very viable one and make it electronically compliant too. Not just the type of data you keep in the file that we used to have in the schools those days, and you know that there's a limit to which those ones are subjected to that. Then secondly too, you talk about equipment. Let every school be equipped in terms of all facilities. Yes, he has spoken about internet. What about the basic infrastructures in terms of laboratories, computer systems? You get to some schools where they want to even do some exams. You discover that I have supervised exams externally in this state for more than 20, 10, 15 years consecutively. You get to some place, you will just see that about 100 students that are registered, the equipment they have cannot go around, not more than 10 students. This is quite inadequate. So that equipment for that must be. And I also think that every school must also develop an e-library with students having access to that. So because most of this problem they are talking about facilities wise and all of that, if every school has an e-library and is accessible to students, they'll be able to have access to information. They will also collect information from their own e-library, so that if the resources are not present at all, if government is not just doing it, let every school, and that's where I want to call on even those students and some other philanthropists that will fund schools, rather than continuously be donating buses and all of that, let them think of concrete things that will assist the educational advancement of the school. And again, the education, we must be able to also develop a kind of a school syllabus that will encourage what I would call critical thinking. You see, it's not enough to just to receive an education and come out and be seeking job. You must be able to really form a child. What I talk about in holistic formation of the children. Every child that receives good education must be able to think outside the box. And this must be integrated to the teaching and learning of every system. So every school should develop this. So in terms of school as an institution, then the school must also facilitate the ongoing formation of their teachers and staff. Let's not wait for government. Let every school develop a system by which the teachers are having access to ongoing formation by way of seminars, conferences, and a few other things. These are some few ones I could remember immediately. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So I would still like us to talk about parents, like in respect to secondary schools mostly now, because a good percentage of higher institutions students are really to some level on a free will, so they don't really take decisions from their parents. They make their own decisions. But for the secondary schools mostly, I believe parents have a role to play as well. So can we just shed more light on that, Dr. Oyebi?
Well, for secondary school education, indeed primary and secondary school education, the role of the parents is germane to the overall performance and success of the children. They have a great role to play in ensuring that their children are compliant. First and foremost, their major role will be in selecting appropriate school and giving sufficient guidance to their wards, to their children, providing adequate resources that the children will need, not leaving everything to the school. Because the idea, my child has gone to school, the school will do this, the school will do that. Parents will also be involved. And there is also what we call instrument that even in educational planning, in curriculum selection, in styles of administration, parents should be involved. And that is why we encourage as much as possible the PTA forum, the parent teachers forum, where they will interact from time to time to take decisions together on the development of their children. No doubt, the education will be incomplete without the parents' effective role. So I want to say with a very sense of seriousness that the role of parents is sine qua non to the good performance of children in the school.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Lawrence. Oh. Okay, please, sir, you need to unmute your mic. You are currently on.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Without repeating what Dr. Oyebi has already said, let me quickly discuss these few points. Number one is the issue of sharp practices I've been talking about. When I talked about sharp practices the other time, I said this is not coming from the students or lecturers alone. Even parents are involved. I've heard about a situation where parents take their kids, their children to miracle centers just for them to have good results. This is not helping us in this country at all. And this is what some parents are doing in Nigeria today, because they want their kids or their children to gain admission as fast as possible. And parents should run away from this if we actually want to help our education sector, because the problem will be open, will be known to everybody the moment they enter the university, the moment they gain admission to the university. Some students will find it difficult to cope when they get to the university, and this is what we have been experiencing. Some of them will even say, in fact, I don't understand this. That tells us that they don't have the capacity to cope in the university. But their parents, by the virtue of the support they got from their parents, they have been forced to go to the university, and they are not performing. Before you know it is bulk of these students in this category that go into social vices that form cult groups and things like that, because they know that they cannot make it again as far as this education is concerned. Then they divert their resources, everything, into these social vices. Another thing is the issue of knowing the capacity of your children. This is what is being done in the advanced countries. You need to know the capacity of your children. What do you think they are good at? What do you think they can do effortlessly? These are the things you study. As a parent, study your kids right from the beginning. You must understand what they do effortlessly without any stress. Think about it. These are the things that will now guide you and guide the students or the kids when they want to choose a particular course to study in life. This is very, very important. Not that the children of my neighbor are medical doctors. They are engineers, and I want my children to be engineers, to be medical doctors by fire, by thunder. No, this will not work. Before you know it, you will eventually fail if you want to embark on things like this. For example, I've been able to relate with some students in the university, and these students will tell you, excuse me, I don't have interest in education, only that my parents have forced me to go to the university. Can you imagine that? I don't have interest, but my parents have forced me to go to the university. Do you expect something reasonable from such students? At the end of 5 years or 4 years in the university, everything will be a waste of resources at the end of the day. So that is why we need to avoid things like this. Now, in the area of course selection, some students are not allowed, or some children are not allowed to decide on the course they want to study in the university. Their parents will force them. If you don't study this course, you are in trouble. You will not stay in my house. You will not do this. Why are we doing this? Why? We don't need to do this. Do not force them. Let them decide on, because they know their ability. Let them decide. Let them choose the course they know they can do, they can perform best in. That is the best thing for us. Not only this, in the advanced countries, every level of education is recognized. If you want to go to the technical school, technical college, you are recognized. If you want to go to the polytechnic, you are recognized. If you want to go to the university, you are recognized. If you want to learn a particular work, you are recognized. But that is not the case in Nigeria, and that is giving us serious problem in Nigeria. Every parent believes that if you don't go to the university, you cannot make it in life. Though I don't blame the parents, it is just because of the way our country is structured. If our country is well structured, we should be able to give recognition to technical school graduates, secondary school graduates, university graduates, polytechnic, colleges of education graduates. We must give them recognition that they deserve. We don't need to focus our attention on universities alone because these people are relevant. They are relevant in the society, in the country. As a graduate of College of Education, we know that you are a trained teacher and you'll be able to do well. They should be given the recognition they deserve. As a graduate of a technical college, we know that you are a technical person. You can work effectively in industry, in factories, and you'll be doing fine. Why is it that we think about universities always? There are some students who do not have the capacity for these university studies, unless we want to deceive ourselves. There are some who can cope very well in polytechnic. There are some who can cope very well in colleges of education. And at the end of the day, after their graduation, they make good money wherever they work. So parents should think about this and stop forcing their parents or their kids to go to the university by force, or to choose a particular course or that they think will make them to be rich later in future. No course is not lucrative. Every course is lucrative. It now depends on the way you handle yourself in that particular course. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, sir.
Well, if you don't mind,
okay.
Can I just chip in one or two things now that this discussion had just reminded me of parents?
Okay, sir.
I must sincerely appreciate Dr. Lawrence for this sharp practice by the parents. There's another important area which I feel that parents should desist from. That is really forcing the students to come to school at an underage. There are specific functions and attributes and abilities that a particular age is peculiar to a particular age. Many parents are too anxious. If a child is supposed to complete primary 6, when they're already primary 4, they want them to go to secondary school. When they go to secondary school, they want them to jump from GS1 to GS3 to go and do GS3 exam. Many will want their children to finish secondary school while they're in SS1 or in SS2. At the end of the day, the children becomes half-baked. And by the time they are concrete age, when they are supposed to be using their real mental capability, they have been overstretched. And the children begin to, actually they may be gifted from the beginning, they begin to depreciate. As a result of that, the functions and the abilities they are giving to them is above their age or is already under their ability. So please, parents, you must not be too forceful. Let children go through every stage to have necessary experience. The chronological age of the children. In recent time, I remember a story. A particular child was forced from primary 1 to 3, from 3 to 5, and he found himself in the secondary school. And by the time he gets to actually SS1, he was just about age 12. And at that time, he now find it difficult to cope. And by the time you go to history, the child now begins to say, I was never allowed to read primary 3. I never knew what they do in primary 4. I didn't know what they were doing in J. When these children, when the parents now come to the realization, and having had counseling session with the counseling unit of the school, the child from SS1 had to go back now to JS2, to the class where he actually belongs. But thank God that one was redeemed. Many of them have these issues when they get to the university. So parents, please let us not push too much. Then another major issue that is found among, especially among educated parents, is the fact that we force our children to live our dream. When I was growing up, I had wanted to become a medical doctor. I never was given admission. So my child should now become a medical doctor at all costs. The child, he has a different dream. He has a different vision. He's operating in a different situation. I have a case in point of another person who read BSc Agric accounts like that from the university. His wife went to learn a trade in patent medicine and all of that. Having been exposed to that, he said all his boys must read pharmacy. When I was interacting as a counselor with one of the boys, he said, Daddy, counselor, please, if you help me talk to my daddy, I don't really appreciate being a pharmacist. Yes, I don't have any problem with a child. I actually wanted to be an engineer, but my father would not allow me. By the time I talk with the father, I said, God, don't worry. By fire, by force, he must become a pharmacist. And as such, you know, a child who has that inclination, if he goes into pharmacy and it's not performing well, do you blame him? And some other people will come back and say, no, the prophet has said that he must be placed in science class. All this must be reduced. Let us respect the individuality and uniqueness of our children. So parents, ours is to guide. Do not make your children to lead.
Okay, thank you very much for the contribution. So, like one of the popular speakers I listen to always say, Gary, his name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He say something that nobody is lazy, but if you discover you are acting lazy, that means there's a possibility you are doing the wrong thing. So, if you really have passion for a thing and you are channeling all your energy into it, it becomes easy for you to do it. So, like, I've come across a lot of students who are not so glad studying what they are studying. So that's why they have issues. They end up having carryovers and sometimes have extra years in the university. Why? Because they are not so pleased with what they are studying. Assuming the energy they channel into studying that course was put into what they love to do, it should have become more easy for them to learn, and life would even be better for everyone. So we just need to, like, the educational system in Nigeria has to some level not really being of help. So because, for example, there are people that just want to attend these technical colleges, like that's what they want to do. They are more interested in all these vocational skills, but parents force them based on the fact that, okay, fine, technical schools are not producing any good products or whatsoever. So everybody just keeps coming up with their own opinion and they are forcing it on people, on individuals, when they are supposed to make their own choice. And another thing is, thank you, Dr. Oyebi, for talking about skipping classes, so to say. So this thing has affected a lot of students. I once heard of someone who got admission to the university at the age of 14. I don't know how true that is, but I believe this thing is a process. Despite the fact that the Nigerian educational system has its own fault, I believe one of the things that has helped us to do, like if you really stick to it, is the value of patience. Like it teaches us to wait. It takes us through a process. And through this process, there are things you learn that you can never skip. Like once you skip them, you cannot get them because you have to experience them to really be part of it. So when you have kids that are being taken from one class and forced to skip another class and get to another level, it becomes difficult for them to really comprehend what those they meet in that new class have learned over the years. So thank you very much, sir, for that. So finally, I believe we will not fully do justice to this conversation if we do not talk about one of the most vital key players in the educational sector, which is the government. So we need to know, although the truth is we cannot really wait for the government to come and help us solve all our problems. But even at that, there is always how do I put it now? Like no matter how cloudy the day may be, there will always be some ray of hope. So I want us to still discuss about the role of the government. What do we need the government to do? I believe it all begins from there. Like what is the government supposed to do to help Nigeria as a nation prepare for education in the post-COVID-19 era? So Dr. Lawrence, you can go first, sir. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry about that. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Government has a lot of things to do. Let's start from the issue of provision of infrastructures and even renovation of the existing infrastructures. This is very, very critical. In fact, when we are talking about ranking, university ranking across the world, infrastructure is one of the things they consider. The percentage of international students in your university is another thing they consider. Even the percentage of international lecturers, foreign students in your university, they consider things like this. And that is where our government is getting it wrong, especially with the introduction of IPPIS. With the way IPPIS has been built, all of these are not given due consideration at all. You cannot compare university with a normal ministry people. They are not the same. University is for the globe, is for the whole world. You must be able to interact with people outside your country. And you need to invite foreign people to your university as a lecturer or as lecturers, as students. And this will give you that rank that you actually, and no wonder Nigeria, we have few universities, like 2 universities in the last ranking that made a very top position in Africa. We should not go to the world level. No Nigerian university is making any high rank across the world. But when we talk about Africa, where we have like 2 universities, and these are the things that are actually affected, but our government does not understand this. And I think they need to go to the university. They need to bring the people who actually understand the workings of the university, the dynamics in the university, to educate them on how university system works. And this is very important. Now, let's talk about laboratories. Functional laboratories must be made available for research, sound research, teaching. If we don't have this, we are in trouble, because there is no way we can compete with our international colleagues. This is not possible in terms of our research outputs. Let me give you an instance. I was told some time ago that a researcher was about to publish a particular research output in an international journal. And when they looked at the equipment this lecturer or this researcher used, one of the comments of the reviewers is that some of these equipment you have used are archaic. They are archaic. And these equipment were used few years ago, and they are no more used even in the advanced countries. Can you see this? But when people will be talking outside the university, they'll be saying these lecturers are not doing anything. They're not. Are they going to use their blood to do research? Are they going to use their rooms to do research? They need functional laboratories. Government should make this available. Now, let's talk about the scholarship. Scholarship now. Students who are brilliant should be motivated. They should be celebrated. These people must be celebrated. If they're not celebrated, you are not encouraging them. Just imagine, best students in the university, students with first class, will be given 20 or 10,000 worth of books as the gift for being a brilliant student. Whereas in the entertainment industry, somebody who has gone to the public to expose his nakedness, his or her nakedness, we go on with something like millions of naira. Does that make sense? Our government should think about this. This is not encouraging students to be serious at all, because they are looking at these entertainment industries, and that is why they are not focused in the university. Let's talk about the motivation. I've talked about motivation. We have a lot of problems with brain drain. In this country today, people don't want to stay back to teach, to impact knowledge into our students. They want to move out of the university, out of this country to another place where they can get better pay. And this is a big problem. There was a time I was discussing with some people in Germany. They were asking me, hello?
Hello, Dr. Lawrence. Something seems to be wrong with the network at his end.
Okay.
All right, let me. Dr. Lawrence, I'm not sure he's aware of that.
Can you check him online?
Yeah, I'm checking already.
Do I make my contribution while you're fixing that?
Okay, yes, sir. I think that would be better. So you can just continue.
All right. Are you with me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, government has a lot of role, like Dr. Lawrence had observed, to play. And the first major role I would want the education ministry to do is to actually develop a robust database. It's unfortunate. I don't know where there is a place where you have a strong data that you have so many number of students in Nigeria, so many number of teachers, so many numbers of lecturers, both public and private. So we need a strong, reliable statistics of our educational system. And I believe very strongly that it's only government agency that will be able to do this comprehensively. If we have to meet the challenges of the 21st century education, that's one. Then he also spoken about this motivation. I want to back that up seriously. You imagine, for instance, that you said somebody has had the best result, overall best result in WAEC. That's after so many numbers of at least 1 million plus candidates. You identify one and said he had the best WAEC by performance. And at the end of the day, you call him for an award. What does he get? 45,000 naira. And like you rightly said, I can see smiles on the faces of people. So what stops Nigerian system to pick that one up, develop its system, get its education, and get an advancement? My school, for instance, has produced not once, not twice. So I know exactly what it is. If he's performing best in NECO in the last, they put up a 5 years program, and that's not even done by government. And this is the same set of government that would spend millions of naira to promote Miss Nigeria, to promote, and not just government alone, philanthropists. You must also begin to celebrate academic excellence. So by the time we begin to celebrate academic excellence like that, it will enhance our performance and it will encourage the youth to do more. And I also feel that government should also promote research at not just the tertiary level, but also at the secondary and indeed primary school level, so that the system will be adequate. Number 3 that I want to raise is funding. Sometimes ago, you will see the statistics as presented by Dr. Lawrence, that up to today, our budgetary allocation to education is far, far below the normal. If UNESCO recommended between 15 to 20%, and Nigeria is implementing 7% of its budget on that. And we are spending more than 60% of the budget on defense and security, protecting only the ruling class. Because when you talk about defense and security, as far as I'm concerned, all that is an allocation to protect the ruling class. And if you are using that to protect the ruling class, the real future of the nation, you are allocating 7%. That is abysmally low. And for a nation that wants to progress, that wants to advance, if UNESCO had advocated 17 to 20, that is the minimum. It's not the zero. That's the minimum recommendation by UNESCO. A nation that wants to advance should also have made an effort to say, okay, for my nation, because I want to be ahead of others, let me give 25% allocation to this. And ensuring that whatever is allocated gets to be used for the purpose. Because even if the entire 7% that they have allocated was completely released for development of education, we will not be talking of what we are talking now. So as such, I want to seriously say that in funding, education should be properly funded by government. Thank you. I'm sure Dr. Lawrence is back.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Lawrence. Okay, we can have you now.
Yes. Okay, I'm very sorry for that break. I guess you got me to the point of motivation.
Yes,
Did you get my point?
yes,
Point of
yes,
motivation.
yes. When
Okay,
we're talking
okay.
about scholarships.
Oh, okay. So these brilliant students should be encouraged. And thank God, Dr. Ibi has said something about that as well. I don't need to repeat that again. Teachers should be motivated. Not only motivational, let's talk about training.
Yeah.
Dr. Ibi talked about the issue of human capital development the other time. This is very, very critical. If you are not trained, there is no way you can increase your productivity. Your productivity will not increase. So training is very, very important. Now, let's talk about government sponsoring trainings, overseas trainings. We have issues with that in the university currently, especially this conference attendance. Some lecturers spend their own money from their mega salary to sponsor themselves to attend international conferences. And you know that if you don't attend all these international conferences, there is no way you can be relevant globally. And it will even affect our ranking. But majority of the lecturers do not have access to this international conference attendance sponsorship. This is very, very bad. Government should work on this. And the worst scenario, I mean, the worst thing that is actually happening now is this issue of TED fund. In fact, if you are following it in the news, we read it in the news that 1% of the TED fund money will be used to sponsor repentant Boko Haram members to study abroad. What does this mean? Terrorists, we are talking about terrorists, and you want to use the money that is meant for the development of our education sector to sponsor terrorists abroad. What does this mean? Does this make any sense, for God's sake? Why is our government doing this for us? Is it because of their selfish interest or what? I don't understand. This is very, very bad. This TED fund money is meant to is meant for lecturers to be sponsored on international training and conference attendance. But they are not doing this again. They said because they have noticed corrupt practices on the part of lecturers. Does that mean every lecturer is involved in these corrupt practices? Look at what is happening in the Senate or in our National Assembly. There are some people who do not use their constituency money meant for projects in their constituencies. They are not using the money judiciously. We then now say they want to stop giving them constituency allowances. This is very, very bad. They are not treating lecturers, teachers well. They are not motivating lecturers, and this is affecting our productivity. Dr. Ibi has talked about this UNESCO recommendation of 18. This has to be critically looked into, and government should campaign against sharp practices as a whole. On the part of the students, on the part of the lecturers, on the part of the parents, this campaign must be on, and it must be given all the necessary support by the government. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, Dr. Lawrence. It's good to have you back, sir. So I noticed someone was asking a couple of questions in the chat box. I believe I've gone through all the questions and they've all been addressed already. So as regards the issue of good statistical data for the Nigerian educational sector, Dr. Yebi has already spoken about that. And how can we go forward to see that there's integration of ICT into education in Nigeria? That's all what this conversation has been about since inception. So we've been able to do so much justice to this topic today. And I believe from henceforth, we should expect some level of changes. Like Dr. Ibi said, we shouldn't expect so much, something so magnanimous for now. Looking at the situation of everything in the country, because the truth is, the same problem affecting the educational sector is also the same menace that's affected all other sectors. Looking at the health sector, the transportation, the economy itself. So we have the same problem on different faces of the nation. So I believe if we can possibly make use of some solutions to cater for these problems in the sector. I believe if with the help of stakeholders in other sectors as well, we can be able to address these issues. So that's why we are doing this. If education can be put in place, I believe there's nothing stopping us from putting our health sector in place as well, putting the economy of the nation in place. So it's a gradual process, and I believe one day we'll get there. We all hope for a better Nigeria. And I'm so happy that this kind of conversation is coming on a beautiful day like this, on the day that Nigeria is celebrating democracy. So we've come so far as a nation, and I believe that we still have a very long way to go, but we can get there. So we just need to stay optimistic, and everybody should keep playing their role to make things better in this nation. So we've been able to address each of the players in the educational system of Nigeria, from the students to the teachers to the educational institutions themselves to the government and the parents. So everyone definitely knows what they are supposed to do at the moment. So it goes beyond just listening and putting it to heart. We need more of action. That's why I'm leaving us with this call to action today, that whatsoever applies to you, possibly you're a student or you're a teacher, or possibly you work with the government, or you are part of the decision makers and you are with us on this session, please spread the good news. Do what is expected of you, even when no one is looking. Help build this nation, because we cannot take education away from the development of this nation. It is not possible. Like, we are going nowhere. Because what I've come to understand is Nigeria as a nation rotates on the axis of education. Everything about us has to do about education. And it's so funny that we've so much bastardized and given little attention to something of such a great effect on us. So I believe we'll see changes, and we can only hope for the best. And on the part of the Shegun Foundation, I said it at the beginning of this session that education is our art. Like, it matters a lot to us, and we are always working on seeing that the Nigerian youth, the Nigerian students can get the best, get the most out of this. So that's why we give scholarships to motivate students who are doing well, to promote academic excellence. And we're also looking at ways in which we can help teachers as well, so that we are not just catering for students alone, but also the teachers. So we are working as an organization to see to the integration of ICT into education, possibly through organizing digital skills acquisition training for students. And if we get enough resources, we can also organize such to empower the teachers as well, so that the dispensation of education at the grassroots level will become more better. So more information about this will be disclosed to the general public at the right time. So I just want to say thank you for everyone who was able to be a part of this session. We've been having this session for about 2 months now, and we see the need to have a kind of self-evaluation, a kind of evaluation from our audience rather. So I'll be dropping a link in the chat room now. So please, I want us all to click on that link. It's not going to take us more than a minute to fill the form. So it's an evaluation form. So surveymonkey.com. So please, let's kindly click on that link and answer the questions. The reason why we are doing this is to help us improve and get better in future sessions, so we can know what are the lapses we've been overlooking, and what are our strengths, what should be addressed, and what we should keep doing. So please kindly click on the link. It's already in the chat box now. So I would like to say thank you to Dr. Tunde Oyebi for being a part of this session. We really, really appreciate you, sir. Thank you for sharing. Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing your wealth of experience and knowledge about the educational sector with us. We really, really appreciate that. So, and also to Dr. Lawrence Oparide. It's really a privilege to have you here, sir. So
thank you very much. I would like to state this before we call it a day. Government should learn how to honor agreements. Whatever agreement they have reached with any union, any labor union, they must learn how to honor those agreements by following legal procedures. This is very, very important. And they should learn how to develop the infrastructures of the universities or of the tertiary institutions so that we can see that development that we have been yearning for in the country. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. On that note, I also like to say the truth is the government needs to help us. Like, this is our government. And we are celebrating democracy today, right? So the government needs to help us. But I'll also say this to Nigerians, to the citizens. We do not need to wait for the government. We are the government. Change begins with every one of us. We do not have to wait for the government to come and solve all our problems. Because even the government has problems that are yet to be solved. So please, we want it. One thing I've learned about life is if you want something, you go out there and get it. Nobody will hand it over to you. So let us come together. Let us make change happen. And the government will have no choice than to join us. So it begins with each and every one of us. What are you doing in that little capacity of your own to promote change? So I'll leave us with that. So thank you to everyone that joined us for this session today. Possibly you are joining us on Zoom or you are with us on Facebook. You are streaming live. It's really a pleasure to have you here today. So this web session is one of our sessions under the SAF Sheguano Foundation Youth Enlightenment Series, where we get to trash out issues that affect youth and the society and enlighten people on how to make the most out of their individual lives and also help the society as a whole. So my name is Babalola Adetunbowale, but I'm mostly called Bowale Babalola. So I am the program officer for the Sheguano Foundation. So if you are not following us on social media, I would like to share a screen. So you can, okay, so I believe you can all see my screen. So please, you can do well to follow us on social media so that you always be a part of our activities, possibly online. And as the world is gradually opening up, we hope to go back to the field and do a couple of things before the year runs out. So you can follow us on Facebook at Sheguano Foundation. On LinkedIn, we have a presence there as well. You can find us at Sheguano Foundation as well. On Instagram too, Sheguano Foundation. And on Twitter, you can find us at Sheguano FD. So those are our social media and news. You can just like our pages, follow us, and from time to time you get updates about what we are doing as an organization to help the society. So with this, I would like to say thank you to the management committee, and to the board of trustees, and everyone who is part of the Sheguano Foundation team that made this possible. Thank you for having us today. So we'll be having another session in a couple of weeks. We'll be getting to talk more about career and employability. So I'll keep the details till then. So thank you very much for everyone who was part of this session. Thank you for being a part of it. And I
thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. So thank you very much and bye. Bye.